Hey everyone, we are LDG. I am Brooks.
I am Kitty.
And I am Lizzy.
That was so formal. And today we are doing fresh thoughts on Euphoria. Long subtitle. Whatever. Building a Better Dystopia,
Yes,
right?
we'll build a Better Dystopia.
So close. Yeah, another gem from Stonemaier Games.
Yes.
Yep.
What do you guys think?
I wish I played this earlier. Why did we wait so long?
It was absolutely incredible.
It was so good.
I was kind of surprised by it. Really cool economic game. Yeah, with a lot of moving parts.
Yeah.
Liz, you, I almost said you kicked our butts, but you didn't.
I still won.
I was
You
on your
still won.
heels.
Yeah, by one turn. If I didn't win that turn, Brooksy had the stuff to win, place it right there, and win the next turn. So
Yeah. So, you want to give a quick little breakdown of the board and kind of what's all over the place?
We'll start with these. So this is your morale and your knowledge. Morale kind of limits the amount of these cards that you can have in your hand. While knowledge, your workers, you want to keep them a little bit on the non-knowledgeable side.
Yeah, it's like a dystopia where you're trying to...
Maybe brainwash or something.
Yeah, maybe brainwash, maybe try to... But I think the whole moral is that you're infiltrating to try to...
Make a better world for people.
You just don't want the different factions to gain too much knowledge on what you're trying to do.
Maybe that's what it is.
We shorthanded it and thought it was funny to say, keep your workers stupid.
Yes.
It felt like us when we were in retail. A long time ago.
Thankfully we are not in there anymore.
It can treat you sometimes.
Yes.
But anyway.
So, and then up in the clouds we have what are called the Icarites. They use bliss, which is their resource. Nice little stuff that they huff. And they get a steady stream of all this other stuff coming in, so they don't have to worry about digging anywhere.
In the underground is where I was at.
You were in the subterranean, so you were getting tons of water, which can be used to get new workers, or just other things like turning them in for wild resources, or turning them in to build over here. There's a lot of that stuff going on, which you want to... The Subterraneans wanted more food, so they were trying to build up to the farms. The farms had a ton of food, and they were trying to build over to the Euphorians, and then the Euphorians had electricity, but they wanted water because they were thirsty. So they were,
that's cool. There's a lot of interplay,
a
lot of mingling between the different groups of people.
And it's interesting. Oh, go ahead.
No. Go ahead.
It's interesting in terms of gameplay too, especially with like 3 players, because what factions your personal recruits, right, are at the beginning. They might change like what you go for, what your first strategy is, and say if you have something like the Wastelanders that nobody else has.
Yeah, and you had 2 of those.
You were fixating though on very specific things, and Liz and I were trying to diversify and have options. I think that is the key to this game. You got to pay attention to where you can pounce on the stars.
Yes.
Because the object of the game is you put out however many stars
10,
you have.
right?
10, right? Yeah. And by the end of the game, whoever gets their last star out wins. It's like influence or something like that.
You're trying to influence the world.
What was happening, what I was doing was trying to keep some backup material in my back pocket. So if I saw, like, Liz, if you could point to one of the industries that you went for towards the top, like the Wastelander industry up there, or that side. Mm-hmm. So, like, I had done all the industries at the bottom, and Liz and Kitty were kind of fooling around with the idea of possibly taking over some of those industries up there. So I put one item in my back pocket just for, if I knew they were going to go for that, I could contribute to building that building and I could get a star put. So it's kind of that, it's really meshing together these 4 different groups. And
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I thought it was really streamlined. It honestly felt, we just mentioned this a little bit ago, this game, but it honestly felt a little Concordia to me in a different way, obviously.
Yeah, you're not moving around, you're just sending people out, but you're still trying to gather stuff and expand your influence out.
And it's another game where it's like a Euro, but it's also super quick turns. I mean, unless you get like saddled with AP, like it's a super quick
turns
game.
Were so quick sometimes that like 20 seconds and we've done an entire round.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love, one of my favorite things about it is the can you point to the track, the wisdom track or whatever it is, the knowledge track, yeah, and how you get a dice penalty if you roll a certain number of dice. So let's say I have 3 workers, I roll 3 5s. That's 15 dice right there.
Yes.
The cutoff for knowledge is 16. So if you're at any level of knowledge on that track, you would lose a worker. It's a really cool system, trying to balance your high and low workers. And like Liz, if you could point out some of the communal areas where dice go and how that affects the different levels of rewards.
Yeah, so like here, you could give up something, like so it's the 3 cards in this one, and then you can place a star over here, and then of course the track over down here goes up as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, because these you have penalties if you don't contribute to them, because if you contribute over here, you once enough get put on, you get a star when it gets revealed. If you don't have a star, so like over here, every time they rolled a 1, they would have to lose either a resource or a commodity.
And that can be really devastating, so that's why it was important to always try to vie for them also. And then the communal areas where multiple dice can go.
Yeah. So, like, if a 2 would get put, it would be in the 1 through 4, so you would get this first thing. And then if a 4 would get added, it's now 6. And this could be anything. So, like, if Brooksy would have added a 5, it would then be 7, and then it would be in the 5 through 8. So it's based on the total number of dice, not just your own.
Because that created an extra layer of really paying attention to what your other team members were doing.
For sure.
So, because sometimes I would put, not team members, but your opponents, I would sometimes put a die in one of those communal areas that I knew one of you would want, and you wouldn't get the benefit of the lowest tier, which was usually the better tier because you were able to lose knowledge that way.
Yeah.
And so, you know, it would push you up into the next category to gain knowledge, and you really kind of play with other people's turns in a really minor way.
Yeah.
That's really fulfilling instead of just like take that, you know what I mean?
Right. And then you can even play with your own turn, because if you you can knock your own person off as well on some of the spots, not those communal.
Yeah, it's anything that has like a dashed around it, you can knock someone off. And then they get to re-roll it and get it put back in their supply, which is nice.
But it was super cool with the diversification of different resources and commodities, as you could tell. I don't know if you can tell, but I was the water baron, apparently, because I had more water than I knew what to do with.
Yeah, I kept being like a kick calling you like the water bearer from Forbidden Desert over and over.
So yeah, really fulfilling gameplay, really quick turns, and we did it without a copy. So Liz, we don't have a copy of this game yet. Liz is the only one who has a copy, and we wanted to try it out.
Yeah, and also, I mean, I have the expansion in here, but we didn't even, these tiles, we didn't even go through half of what comes in the base game.
Tons of just infinite replayability to mix and match your buildings.
For
and
sure.
Workers you get. I mean, we didn't even scratch the surface of the workers.
Yeah, I mean, there's still this many different workers.
And they all have benefits and bonuses, and it's just so cool, so layered.
Yeah.
Really quick learning curve.
Oh, for sure.
In the beginning, it's kind of an open market, and you just have to kind of like figure out what you're doing. But that's something I end up really liking in games. So
it's definitely open world. I do have one negative. I feel like it's better with more players. So, like, for us, I kind of matched. My first two were the Icarites and the Subterrians. So Brixie was working on the Subterrians, moving that up the track, and Kitty was working on moving the Icarites up the track. So I kind of benefited from that. And then Kitty had one that she was the only one working on, so she was really struggling with that.
Right.
Yeah, I think Kitty was just a little bit disadvantaged from the fact that no one else was. We didn't even need that track. Like we were fine with everything else we were doing. So I do think, like you said, 4, maybe even 5 would give a lot of,
a lot
infusion
of interaction, a lot of variability,
movement on all of the tracks, so that you had to really. I feel like 4 would probably be the sweet spot.
I agree. I think so.
Still a great game with 3. Like I still really love it.
Yeah, I mean, we wanted to play it again instead of filming this, so yeah.
And then, really quickly, in terms of the artwork, another thing I thought was really cool was one of my Wastelanders was actually the viticulturist. So I thought that was like a cool throwback to a different Jamie game. And I also felt like the artwork, parts of it kind of reminded us of Tapestry too. So very cool
it's got that really cool art style that I've kind of come to expect from anything that comes from Stonemaier. So really beautiful, kind of angular art, really pretty components. Nothing negative I can say about it. Loved it. Cannot wait to play it again.
Yeah.
I'd probably sit it right at like a 9.5. It's so close to being a 10 for me.
Okay. Yeah, I was thinking 9.5.
Yeah, I'm on the lower end. It's a 9, but maybe next time it'll move up to a 9.5.
You're always less than us. Like, it used to be the other way around, and now that you got me addicted to Euros, it's the opposite.
Well, you should have gotten into Euros earlier then.
I guess.
Okay, well, this was Euphoria. And until next time, just remember to have fun.
Be present.
And be you. Thank you all for watching. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to reach out to us. We would love to hear from you. Also, if you find value in our content, please like, comment, and subscribe. Let a family or friend member know that we exist. Help us spread our channel and bring remote gaming to a table near you. Thank you very much, and have a great day.